The federal government has further eased the lockdown restrictions over COVID-19 as ban on religious gatherings has now been lifted and curfew stretched backwards from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. The governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, reaches out to his hack rivals, Adams Oshomole, after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. He says, as the governor of Edo State, he is willing to embrace peace. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye, Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos. Let's begin the conversation tonight with some news that may have come as a sigh of relief for a lot of Nigerians who, one way or the other, are being locked in their homes from going to the mosque or their churches over the last few weeks. Because of COVID-19. Now, the information coming from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 is that the ban on religious gathering has been lifted based on guidelines and protocols. They've also reduced the nationwide curfew from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. However, all interstate travels by individuals remain prohibited except for essential travel and the movement of goods and services.
The following for implementation over the next 4 weeks, spanning from tomorrow, the 2nd of June, to 29th June 2020, subject to review. 1. A cautious advance into the second phase of the national response to COVID-19. 2. Application of science and data to guide the targeting of areas of ongoing high transmission of COVID-19 in the country. 3. Mobilization of all resources at state and local government levels to create public awareness on COVID-19 and improve compliance with non-pharmaceutical interventions within communities. 4. Sustenance of key non-pharmaceutical interventions that would apply nationwide and include the following. A. Ban of gatherings of more than 20 people outside of a workplace. B. Relaxation of restriction on places of worship based on guidelines issued by the Presidential Task Force and protocols agreed by the state governments. C. Manage access to markets and locations of economic activity to limit the risk of transmission.
You heard it. We also understand that the PTF is saying that each state governments are going to roll out some guidelines on how some of these, the ease of the restrictions are going to be followed. But let's take a breather and get you some political stories on our political roundup. Then we'll come back and discuss the Edo State political crisis, especially the one in the APC. There's been several meetings, but we get to put you in on some of the latest that has happened today.
A total lockdown has been imposed in Kaba local government area of Kogi State for an initial period of 2 weeks beginning from tomorrow. Governor Yahaya Bello announced the restriction of movement at a press conference in Lokoja, the state capital, despite his insistence that it has not confirmed any case of COVID-19 in the state. The index case announced by the NCDC was at the weekend identified by a family member as the chief imam of Kaba, Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Ijibunu.
Imposing this particular lockdown in Kababonu local government is very painful. But we have to take the decision as a result of this purported allotment in order to clear the air. Kogi State remain COVID-19 free.
Knowledge.
The governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, has unveiled a molecular laboratory for COVID-19 testing and eased the lockdown restrictions in the state. The laboratory in a container model is situated at the Ekiti State University Teaching Hospital and has the capacity to test 400 samples in one
The
day.
mobile laboratory is fully equipped with vital testing instruments and biosafety materials, including an autoclave, biosafety cabinet, centrifuges, heating blocks, vortexes, pipettes, and PCR machines to support COVID-19 testing.
The Senate Committee on Finance says it is dissatisfied with the projected revenue for the Nigeria Customs Service as well as revenue from stamp duties in the amended 2020 budget. Some of the committee members made their discontent known at a meeting with the key managers of the economy, where they argued that revenue-generating agencies such as the Customs Service and Federal Inland Revenue can perform better if they block all leakages. The committee members are also kicking against the high cost of oil production in Nigeria, which they say is one of the highest in the world. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has fixed June the 15th this year for definite hearing of the suit filed by Senator Dino Melaye challenging the passage of the Infectious Diseases Control Bill 2020. The bill, sponsored by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and Representative Pascal Obi and Tanko Sununu, seeks to empower the federal government to convert any property in the country, including private property, to isolation centers. At the resumed hearing, counsel to Senator Melaye, Mr. Okoro Akolam, told the court that the matter was for hearing. However, some respondents had served his client notices of preliminary objection and counter affidavits which he needed to respond to.
Thank you so much, everyone, and let's get right into the main matter of tonight, everyone. There's been some overtures, meetings from yesterday. We understand that some governors of the APC met with APC national leader Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and today some of the governors of the APC continue their meeting. Just as they were having that meeting, the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, was at the presidential villa. He met with President Muhammadu Buhari and he showed him his nomination form, which he obtained. And speaking after the meeting, Mr. Obaseki is saying that he's willing to embrace peace with the national chairman of the APC. Take a listen to him.
It's unfortunate that he's taking the position he has taken. I believe that he was misguided, well, not properly guided. And as governor, I'm his governor. And it is my responsibility to seek peace for my state and with all my citizens. I will continue to strive for peace. I will continue to pursue peace for the sake and interest of our people.
So let's get started. So what does this mean? After all those meetings, the meeting with President Buhari by the governor, the statement from the governor today, don't forget, there is an aspirant who has come from the Oshomole divide in the Edo APC. What are we saying? What is going to happen? What lurks around the corner for the Edo APC in the coming days? Let's talk about this. I've been joined by a former member of the House of Representatives who also was interested as becoming governor of Edo State, but as we since know that he stepped down. Honorable Johnson Agbonyima is in our Abuja studio, and the special advisor to the governor of Edo State on public affairs, Mr. Andrew Mwanta. Both of them are with us on the program tonight. Thank you indeed, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. Let me begin with you, Honorable Agbonyima. What does this mean? The statement from the governor today that is willing to embrace peace. Were you expecting that kind of outcome after the president meeting with the president?
Well, thank you, Sheul, and thank you to our viewer out there. Good evening to every one of you. I want to say that, yes, as the governor of Edo State, as a citizen of this country, he does have the right to pay a visit to the president of our dear nation, President Buhari. Just like any other aspirants also have the right to visit Mr. President to also show their nomination form. The President Buhari, is the father of all, and is the leader of our great party, APC. Unfortunately, I want to say, without fear of favor, I'm one of those that I started talking to the governor. He's a brother, is my senior brother, and then my in-law, that it is cheaper to have peace than war. The same thing I spoke to our leader, my boss. I still call him my boss. I worked for him, with him. At the time, myself and the current governor worked with the former governor, Comrade Adams Ali Oshomole. And they had a very wonderful time together. All of us worked closely and for the interest of our state. But unfortunately, I would say that, politicians, I've often said, there are three principal tenets of democratic doctrine: loyalty, participation, and commitment to your dear nation, to your dear people, your state, your local government, your community. We must do that. If you are given opportunity to be in any position, don't forget that those that helped you, that gave you the ladder to climb, don't destroy the ladder and destroy the people. A day will come that you might need it back. It is just too unfortunate that my very good brother and the governor of Edo State is coming to say this today, that he's willing. Let me tell you, this is what we have been asking for a long time, that what is going on in Edo State is so sad, that we have missed the 8 ball to the detriment of our dear people, the good people of Edo State. When you engage yourself in destructive, castigating others, you are not losing time to be focused to bring dividends of democracy to the union of the people, rather than looking for ways and means to bring peace to bear, and for us, all of us, to have peace in Edo State. I think the governor, like I said, should have been able to do that at that time. But this is medicine after death. Many bad blood, many things have gone down the drain, down the water. And unfortunately, how do you now reconcile? After you have castigated, you have abused. At the time, it was not needed spending taxpayers' money, Edo's money, to fight a cause that doesn't mean anything.
Yes, in this half of the program, Honorable Agboyima, let's allow Mr. Mwanta to come into the conversation. The same question that I posed to you, I'd like Mr. Mwanta to react to it also. Mr. Mwanta, what are your views on your principal's reaction today when he said he's willing to embrace peace? Does that meeting mean an endorsement of Obaseki's candidacy?
Thank you so much, Seun, for having me this evening, and good evening, Nigerians. For me, I think the visit of my governor and boss to the president this evening was to, first of all, thank him for the support he has given him thus far, and also to present his intention to seek re-election for another 4 years. And the president was so magnanimous and gracious in giving his fatherly blessings. And my governor, my boss, the governor of Edo State, reassured the people of Nigeria of his readiness to stay on the path of peace. He has always always emphasized the importance of the interest of Edo people coming first above the interest of any group of persons, which of course is not the larger interest of Edo people. And when we talk of peace, we talk of everybody coming together under one umbrella, the APC, to ensure that Edo State remains an APC state. We don't go the way of Zamfara. We don't go the way of other states that were lost to the PDP through intractable crises within the party, which of course are normally related to primaries. The idea of having 2 factions, the idea of imposition, the idea of not having a transparent process in the primary elections, and I assure Nigerians that come 22nd of June, Godwin Obaseki, by the grace of God, will be re-elected by members of the APC through an indirect primary.
Okay, that's another contention anyways, the mode of primaries, because what is on the ground there is different from what the National Working Committee is saying. But we take a breather. When we come back, everyone, we look at several other issues. Does that meeting mean an endorsement on Obaseki? Will the president also be inviting someone like Osage Ize-Iyamu also? Is this the end between of the rift between Oshiomhole and Obaseki? More into that conversation when we return from this break, everyone. Join us again. Everyone, for staying with us right here on the program. So a lot of you who have been following the rift and the crisis in the APC, largely between the two elephants, the national chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, and the governor, Godwin Obaseki. But today, some analysts are already saying that the statement from Godwin Obaseki might be the game-changing conversation around the fact that he's willing to make peace. He says he's the governor of the state and is willing to reach out to the former governor and the national chairman of the party. Tonight, I have joining me on talking about this, a former member of the House of Representatives, himself also was seeking the ticket of the party, Johnson Agboyima, from our Abuja studio, and from Benin studio is Mr. Andrew Mwanta, is a public affairs special advisor to Governor Godwin Obaseki. Let's get back to the conversation. A few issues that we need to trash right now. Honorable Agboyima, if you could spend a few seconds to talk about what the meeting of the governor and the president today means for you. Does it mean an endorsement of Godwin Obaseki's candidature?
At all, no. That doesn't mean an endorsement. Mr. President, our President Buhari, is the leader of our great party, APC. And anybody can visit Mr. President with their that is their form. Let me put this straight, Shehu. You see, just because the governor went to pay a visit to the president today, that doesn't mean nobody should misconstrue the public about that the president have endorsed the governor of Edo State, Mr. Obaseki. That is not true. That is not true. Mr. President would never do such a thing.
If I may, Honorable Obaseki, Honorable Agboyima, just a moment. Sorry, apologies, please. Apologies, Honorable Agboyima. Let me put a background to this. Few days ago, there were news and there's a publication in the newspaper by Chief John Oyegun saying that there was an agreement from a meeting with the president saying that the governor of Edo and Ondo State should be given a chance of forced refusal in the race. So the meeting of today, doesn't that look like it emphasized and paid check to what Chief Oyegun said?
Well, with all due respect to my big uncle, that Chief Oyegu, I think he's not the spokesman for President Buhari. And I think if you go back to record, he's not the spokesperson for the president. And for him to say that, if anything of such should even happen, I think there are proper way and those who are responsible to put that or to disseminate that information out to the public. And that is not true. That is political tricks. Those are mischievous makers. That is social media that try to derail the wheel of progress of Mr. President to put President Buhari in bad light. And Mr. President Buhari would never, I can tell you that, do such a thing. And the meeting, yes, the president hold meeting with the other governor all the time. And they have the right to hold meeting with the governor of Edo State to discuss the affair of this country, even his own state. But that doesn't mean, for your information, Governor Obaseki today is an aspirant. He's an aspirant. So he has to suggest himself, when you are looking for people to come closer to you, to vote for you, you must go to them, being able to canvass them, communicate to them, pass your message, tell them what you intend to do to add value to what you have done before. Not to start saying to Edo people, oh, I deserve it. I must have it. It is not
All right.
negotiable.
All right, Honorable
Politics is not
Agboyima,
played
let's
that
bring,
way.
because we
And for
have
you to
two
start
sides in this conversation, let's bring out Mr. Mwanta back into the conversation. Mr. Mwanta, it does look like there is a deviation from the trajectory of the conversation coming from your side of the divide. From what we heard the governor saying today, it was fierce and fiery all the way, but today it looks like a tone of peacemaking. Does it mean that Governor Obaseki is willing to hold talks? From what your principal has told you, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, Seun. From the beginning, my boss, the governor, has always maintained one thing, that he's ready for peace. But if that peace will mean compromising the trust of Edo people, if it will mean allowing Agberos to come back to the streets as revenue collectors, if it will mean allowing godfathers to dominate the political space as against the social contract he has with the Edo people, that's the only thing he cannot compromise. And he has been very clear on that. And I think it's important for us to note that his statement today is not different from what he has always maintained. There was a time he went to Shomole's house, he was attacked at the gate. That was a move he made for peace. So what the governor wants is a level playing field so that we don't lose Edo State.
So, Mr. Mwanta, apologies to Botin. Apologies to Botin. Some of the conversation of what we have heard, at some point, the governor has said that he was not willing. The reason for the crisis was because he was not willing to give out Edo money to political godfathers or to politicians in the state. But if that was the stand at the time, and he is now saying that he's willing to make peace, does it mean that he is willing to do what he said he was not willing to do at the time?
No, my boss, the governor, will not compromise the trusts of Edo people, because what he has is a social contract with Edo people. So if he's preaching peace, what he's simply saying is that we have a national chairman whose states will go into elections, and the national chairman should not play opposition politics. He should put all his efforts in ensuring that APC wins Edo, because the people of Edo State have said it is Governor Obaseki that they want. It's not a case of people decamping from PDP and hanging under a group called EPN. It is very clear that Edo people want Governor Obaseki back. It is for APC to put its house in order so that Edo will not be the 9th state it will lose to the opposition party, the PDP.
So, Mr. Mwanta, you are saying that the visit of the governor to the president has put paid to the race for the ticket of the APC?
It was a tacit endorsement by Mr. President based on an initial agreement that the governors of Ondo and Edo, much as they should be given the right of first refusal, the process of their primaries should not be hijacked, as Zamfara was hijacked, as Rivers was hijacked, and other states were hijacked.
We're out of time, gentlemen, but I'm being told we have just about 30 seconds to go on the program. So let's quickly do this. I'd like your final words and final statement on the issue of the mode of primaries. NWC has said it's going to be direct primaries. Down there, Governor Obaseki does not want direct primaries. He wants indirect primaries. Honorable Agboyima, in 15 seconds, what do you think is the way to go from here?
I believe that we should follow the National Working Committee. They are the ones that have the constitutional right to say what they have done. What they have done is that direct primary. If they think that they are popular, that the people of Edo State want them, let them go and test the water. Let's go to the field and tell the people what we can do for them, not to start castigating. Let me tell you, Shehu, my coordinator, the wife was murdered, cold-blooded, raped, because he was campaigning for me for governorship. And we cannot accept this. Nobody have monopoly of violence. This is not about Shomole. It's about those who have refused to bring those that have worked so hard.
The 15 seconds is, let me allow Mr. Mwanta to get his 15 seconds in on his final word on the issue of the mode of primaries. Where do you go from here when NWC said it's direct primaries?
The APC constitution itself is supreme by virtue of Article 2, and by virtue of Article 19, it is clear that it is duty of the National Executive Committee of the party to fix both the guidelines and mode of primaries. And they have been always consistent in saying that it is the state chapters that have the prerogative of deciding mode of primaries. And I expect that the national leadership under Buhari, President Buhari, will allow the the will of Edo people, because it is an Edo election, it is not an Abuja election. And the state chapter has said they want indirect primaries.
Mr. Andrew Mwanta, Special Advisor to Governor Basaki on Public Affairs, thank you so much for coming. And Honorable Johnson Agboyima, former member of the House of Representatives, thank you for your time, gentlemen, tonight on the program. Well, that's our show. Bye for now, everyone.